Hi, everybody. I am Dana Brigman of the Canine Coach Carolinas, and I am on a mission for your dog to eat better, behave better, feel better, and live longer. As a canine wellness educator, I specialize in canine nutrition, aromatherapy, homeopathy, and behavior. It is my passion to bring these pieces of the puzzle together and help you learn how it is all intertwined, and focusing on these things in a natural way may help you reduce the need for vet visits, may reduce some of your cost, and ideally will help you enjoy your pet for many more years to come. As we explore these topics, please know that these are for educational purposes only. Even when we have a guest speaker on, we are not here to try to diagnose, treat, cure any disease or ailment that your pet may have. You are encouraged to seek out professional veterinary care when appropriate, and to do your own research and dig into the information that we're telling you so that you can learn more and understand how this may apply to your specific animal. We cover these topics pretty broadly, and want you to take away these nuggets of information and see how you can use them in your dog's life and maybe even in your own. So sit back, enjoy the topics, and feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have. I would love to invite you into my team for essential oil support to help you with your nutritional needs. And we have the opportunity for you to learn a lot more about those products and the ways in which they can benefit your pet. So I look forward to helping you for a long time and hope that you will enjoy learning from the content made available to you here. Thanks and have a great day. Hi, everybody. It's Dana Brigman of the Canine Coach Carolinas, and I have with me today Bonnie Joanette, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Raindrop technique, and more specifically, Raindrop for Animals. So Bonnie, welcome. I'd like for you to just spend a minute introducing yourself, where you're from, what you do, and then we'll talk more about Raindrop and how you got started and all the things you use it for as we move forward. So just a quick intro of yourself, please.
Well, thank you. Hi, I'm Bonnie Joanette. I'm from Tisdale, Saskatchewan, Canada. And yes, I love Raindrop. I've been doing Raindrop since 2004. And we have 5 horses now, 2 dogs and 1 cat. I have 2 grown boys, married, and 3 grandchildren.
Oh, wow. So how did you first learn about Raindrop? 2004 is quite a little while ago. And so you've been doing this far longer than I have. So how did you come to learn about it?
It was sort of interesting. I was dabbling in essential oils, and a friend of mine asked if I wanted to go to a Raindrop class. And I was like, I had no clue what Raindrop was. It's like, what do you do? Lay outside and let the rain fall on you?
Exactly.
And so she said no. So she explained about the essential oils and how we apply it to our feet and back and stuff like that. And I said, sure, I'm all in. And so that's my first introduction to it.
Okay. So for people who don't know what Raindrop really is, I mean, you mentioned the feet and the back, but I've covered it. I like to hear from other people how you put it in terms that maybe people can understand. What is the benefit of Raindrop from your perspective?
Well, try not to be scientific, but in a sense, Raindrop affects every cell in our body, because those molecules of the young living essential oils go through everything. And I had a lot of health challenges back then, and a lot of things I tried didn't work. And when I went to that raindrop class that day and experienced those essential oils, and my body wasn't greasy, everything was absorbed into my system.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt amazing. I slept all night for 3-4 days. I was just like on cloud nine, and I needed to know more. And I
Mm-hmm.
continued doing raindrop.
Yeah. So just to add a little more, and feel free to jump in to add your piece of the puzzle here, but for people who've not ever heard about Raindrop, and maybe this is the first podcast or video that they've listened to of mine, Raindrop is it's basically an old Indian tribal ritual that Gary Young adapted to using essential oils with. And it's designed to touch every system of the body. You mentioned every cell. I want people to also think about that in terms of the systems of the body, the respiratory, the musculoskeletal, the cardiovascular, the brain health, and so on. And there are 9 specific oils that were chosen in a very specific order to use for this purpose. And in part, those oils go in and clear receptor sites and help really work at the DNA level for our body to begin to cleanse itself, detoxify itself, and to really begin to move itself back into wellness. Would you agree with that, Bonnie?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was things that changed in me that I have had for years that no longer are an issue for me.
Yeah. So we're going to talk mostly today about animals, but feel free to tell your own personal experience as you like. But you know, I mentioned the detoxification and the systems of the body, but there is also very much an emotional piece here. An emotional release can be part of what is experienced. And I find this to work extremely well with animals who maybe have been through some level of trauma, who may have been through abandonment, who may have had some health concern. And oftentimes we raindrop when we don't even know what else to do, right? When we're not clear on what's going on and we just know we need to take some action. Raindrop can be that modality that we turn to. I have come to embrace this so much that I have my dogs, for example, on a regular protocol. My seniors now get it at least once a month, and then Poppy gets it at least once a quarter. If I have a dog or an animal that is unwell in some way, we might do it 3 or 4 days in a row, and then we might do it weekly, and then create some sort of rhythm to that to help move them forward. Some people have, or some animals have, an immediate release, and for others it may take a process. So tell us more about your experience and how you use this in your family and your animals today.
Well, one thing that really sticks out in my mind is my husband used to ride in a community pasture. And what that is the farmers that don't, or ranchers that don't have enough land, it's a big pasture that they can put their cows in, and then they're hire people to ride. So it was in the fall and they were doing roundup and he was riding his horse. And in this one field, there was this sandy embankment and this pit. And he was rounding up and the cows decided they weren't coming home, so they wanted to go the other direction. Anyway, to make a long story short, him and his horse went over this embankment, but the horse Rooster stumbled and fell, and he threw Ray off, and the horse went end over end also. So they both come out of it, and Ray knew he didn't have any broken bones, but Rooster was packing his front leg. So they called the vet. The vet examined him, did x-rays. There's nothing broken, he said, and they suspected ligaments torn. But anyway, he just said, you might as well just take your horse home and shoot him.
Oh, no.
Because the vet just figured, like, there's, what he could see, it was just not good. So Ray brought him home, and I looked at him and he said, well, are you going to dig the hole or are you going to do the other thing? I said, I'm not going to do neither. I'm going to go to the house and get my oils and I'm going to do Raindrop on this horse. So I did Raindrop every day for a week on him. And I tuned into Rooster's energy and asked him if these are the oils that were appropriate for him. And when you had mentioned we use certain oils, but this one he had a few emotional oils that come up, like release and gratitude I used on him within that week. Well, even after the second day, he wasn't limping as bad. And by the end of the week, he was walking out normal. The vet stopped in to take a look at him and they said, I don't know what you did to this horse, but I can't believe that he's still walking. And so the vet did his check and he said, there's, things that are stretched and pulled, but we kept on with him and Ray got back and he rode him again. He didn't ride him as hard, but yeah, he passed away here about 2 years ago and he was 31 years old.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So how old was he when the incident occurred?
He would have been about 15, I think.
Oh, so young, really, and then has lived a nice long life beyond that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was one of the big things that really stuck out with me with the oils, because that was shortly after I had taken that course. And then I didn't know nothing about how to put them on the horses. It's just like, well, they have legs and feet and they have a spine. So basically I did different oils on the frog and up the legs and down his back and just carried on that way.
Yeah. How did you choose the emotional oils that you added to the protocol?
It was just, I just knew that there was something bothering him. And so I grabbed those oils and I brought them out and just put them in my hand, and one by one I showed them to him. And the ones he wanted, he'd turn his face to me, and then I realized that's what he needed.
Yeah.
And I muscle test with my body, and if I go forward, then that means a yes. So if he wanted me to put it on him, I'd ask him, and if it said yes, I'd put it on, or if he just wanted to smell it, and I just use that body language to do that.
Exactly. So, I want people to take away part of this is that sometimes we need to trust our intuition, right? What are we going to take down to the barn if they're not already in the barn? What are we pulling off that shelf or out of our pack? And then can you explain a little bit more about muscle testing? You mentioned using your body. There are a number of ways to do that, but I think a lot of people might be skeptical about muscle testing. I know when I was first introduced to it, we were at a dinner table and this girl brought out a pendulum and that thing started spinning in yes or no answers. Okay, what sort of witchery is this? And now I use it all the time, but I'd love to hear from your perspective about, how you use muscle testing or how you learned about it. And more specifically, what is it that you mean when you say I used my body?
Well, I'm also a Reiki master.
Okay.
So there's that part of it too. And then it's just that if you stand really still and clear your mind with the intention of connecting with the horse, that is what I was using for. And then I ask in my head, in my mind, I just say, show me a yes. And if my body goes forward, then that means yes. And if I ask it for a no, sometimes it will stand still or else it'll go backwards.
Yeah.
And that's the quickest way or the best way I like using it. I've used the pendulum too, but one time I had gone to work on a horse and I didn't have my pendulum. I forgot it. So I thought, oh, now what am I going to do? And it's just like, oh, well, then my body was swaying back and forth. So I just played with that. And that's an easy way for me to do it now.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. And it's amazing. It can help us choose oils. It could help us choose foods, even like if our dog or your horse for some reason has decided I'm not going to eat this particular thing today, and we're trying to figure out, well, what will you eat? Right? We can use that to help us figure out some of the ways to move forward and to support them based on where they are in those moments. Awesome. So, do you have other stories to tell or more about this particular horse?
Not about that particular horse, but we have an old dog and he's ancient, and Spur loves Raindrop. Like in dog years, he's got to be 15, and he chased cattle. He's been kicked, and lots of times, like, yeah, he would come home from his jog with Ray and Rooster, and I do the oils on him. But he's amazing that he is, and I don't know, I guess the oils help keep him going because he's old and he gets stiff and sore, and in Canada our winters aren't nice most of the time.
Right.
Last year like -40, and I bring him in the house and do the oils on him and let him go back outside because he's not a house dog. He doesn't like being in the house.
Even when it's -40, I can't even imagine what it must feel like in those temperatures. I mean, I'm sure you have all the stuff to bundle up, but I just don't know that I could adjust to that.
Well, they have insulated dog houses with heat lamps and pretty sheltered, and yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh, when you asked about other stories, barrel racing, like I've done a lot of barrel racing and stuff, and we know how hard that can be on our horses. So that's another area where I use the oils, is doing treatments on my horse. And if I'm somewhere and he looks a little sore and I can't do a full treatment, I still do get the oils on his feet, especially on the frog and down the back of his legs and stuff. I've adapted it that way because if it's hot out and not putting them right on the back where their saddle goes, I found a lot of really good results with just doing, like I said, the feet and this hind legs.
Yeah, for my followers, most of them are going to be dog lovers. They may also have some horses, but for those trying to think about doing this with your dog, the feet might be the most difficult place to do, right? Because they're going to fidget and move around and be like, whatever. And so when I'm just trying to get oils on them, it's down the spines, but we're not strapping them with a saddle and a blanket either. Yeah, so I totally understand. And that's one of the beauties of this. It's just get the oils on them. Just get the oils on them and let them do what they do and go from there, right? The oils will do their magic, whatever that may be. Have you had any experience where you've seen sort of this emotional release type thing, either during the application process or sometime after? Have you seen that kind of thing help animals or your own animals move forward out of some emotional piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, actually, when Spur, our dog, he's a Catahoula leopard, and when he got to the part where he was getting too old to go with Ray to the pasture, he would get really depressed. And at first I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, because he's Ray's work dog, but he's my companion. Like if Ray's home, Spur's always with me, never with Ray. So I wondered why was he looked like he was depressed, and I was thinking, like, why? But then I realized that that was his thing to go with Ray, and that was his job. So then I started playing with him with the oils to find out, and I would do Raindrop. And one day I'd come out with the Raindrop oils, and he kind of snarled at me. It's like, I don't want them. I'm thinking, So I sat there for a minute, and then I went back in the house and grabbed the feelings kit and started playing with them. And surrender and release were two of the ones that he picked. And because I just talked to him, like, we can still go riding, but so then I would take him riding, and then he felt better about it. But I think he was in that state where maybe he felt useless because he didn't have a job to go to anymore.
Yeah, I've seen that before. In fact, in the Raindrop certification class that I took, when we went to see Candace in Texas, this they brought in some animals, right, for us to do raindrop practice on and to document our experiences and things like that. And there were two dogs that had been competition dogs, if I recall correctly, but very much in the sporting world, right? And had recently retired. And there was a lot of emotional angst going on that we picked up during the raindrops that we were doing and studying the meridians and where there was some sort of response to that. And we didn't know anything about these two dogs other than they were there for their raindrop. And when we went back to have the discussion about our observations and our details with the owner, that's when we learned their history and their recent retirement. And so dogs that have worked their entire life, whatever that job may be, it's just like us. When we retire from our careers, like, what do we do with ourselves now? And I think animals go through that too and need to know that there's still some purpose left for them and some value to what they bring. So I love that you brought in the feelings kit. Would you tell the audience a little bit more about the feelings collection?
Yeah, there's what, 7 oils in that collection? I can't remember them all
At
right
least.
now. But yeah, at least.
Yep.
Well, and then there's more. Release was a big one. And
There's 6. Forgiveness,
there's 6.
forgiveness, harmony, inner child, present time, release, and valor.
Yeah, and I think he smelled all of them that first day. Seemed like. And then that inner child stuck with him. It's like, you know, you're getting older, but you still have the heart to do things. And yeah, I would just take it out to him and he'd smell it and we'd sit there. And I mean, everybody talks to their dogs, right?
Of course.
And you just know they talk back too.
They do. They don't know, obviously they don't use words, but they'll let us know whether when we offer them something that is an experience they want. They might try to sniff that oil a little more, be drawn to it. I've had dogs and horses when I was doing my certification. I don't do a lot of horses now. I'd love to. I love them. But they'd try to take the bottle out of your hand and go, I need a little bit more of this, you know. So I'm sure you've seen that too, where like you've offered it to them and they're like, I give it all to me.
Yeah, they sure do. But yeah, Spur, he's very talkative that way. He lets me know what he wants. And now that like he's settled at home, but the forgiveness too was when we had that conversation, is to forgive Ray of not letting him come to the job, so then he could come with me just to go out for a ride, you know, just down the road or whatever. But now he still has the emotional oils once in a while, but he still really likes his raindrop. Like now that we're coming into fall and his age, and he's got a little stiffness going on, and I'll go out there and I'll put the oils on him, and then he just stands there now. Sometimes he'll sit on his haunches, or even if he lays down, I still get him on him.
Sure.
Put him on him somehow.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I love that you have stories about the horses and the dogs. Do you have more stories to tell us? More experience, or just anything that you want to say about why raindrop is so important in your oily life?
That's a hard question. Well, not a hard question. Yeah, there's so many stories because I've seen so many results, like with us and our kids when I got into into raindrop, they would have been just in their early teens, I guess. But it was just like any kind of injuries or emotional things going on, not feeling well. it's our go-to
Mhm.
kind of. When the kids started school, it was like once a month they get raindrop. The horses get lots of it in the fall. Even in the wintertime, I still do raindrop on the horses, even though it's -40 in Canada. I still, like I say, I'll put it on their feet or down their legs, but the oils get absorbed into the body so quickly that I don't worry about anything freezing.
Mhm. So when you say you do a lot more in the fall, why is that?
Just just because of our weather and to keep their body more healthy going into the winter.
I see.
Sometimes
As
we
a
get,
proactive approach to moving into the harsher temp. I gotcha. I understand. Yeah.
right, yeah. I just want them to be real healthy. I have different herbs and things I feed them too, but the essential oils just are really easy. And especially if you go out, when we get really cold weather, the horses just like to huddle around and not do anything. And I know this isn't an oil for raindrop, but the digize, that's my go-to in my pocket. I have saved 2 of our horses' lives by using digize
Mm-hmm.
in the wintertime because they don't want to move around.
And so the lack of movement does what to the horse? Does it make
Well, just
digestion more
their
difficult
digestion.
or make them more gassy? What happens?
Well, sometimes they just get really gassy and cold. I don't know what it is. Like there's a few times last winter that we go out there and the horses are standing there shivering, and I don't know why they don't want to get out and move because that what would keep you warm. But I just find it's kind of like just this digestion and things aren't moving. And then I put a few drops of digize on their belly and away they go.
Mm,
Like a few minutes and they're moving around.
that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely keep that one with me at all times. Have used it uh, just for myself. And sometimes I feel like it may have saved my life too when you've had the wrong thing to eat or too much of it, too much of a good thing. But I use it on my dogs a lot as well, right? It's definitely in the must-have collection for sure.
But yeah, raindrop is my go-to. I just love it. And even if I can't get raindrop on myself, I put it on my feet, just
Mhm.
like I do with the horses.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well,
But
this
my
is awesome. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say we have a cat too, but he's not much of a lover for oils. He just runs when he sees me coming some days.
Yeah, so cats I know are a little more sensitive to our oils, but a lot of people are afraid to use the oils on our cats, and I don't think they need to be, right? I mean, we certainly need to take their specialness into consideration. Do you do what they call the kitty raindrop, or do you use the oils of the raindrop neat with your cat when you do use the raindrop for them? How do you do that?
A lot of times I'll do the regular raindrop, but I put the oil in my hand and then I just pet the cat with it.
Mhm.
And he seems to like it better that way than to drop the oils on him. He
Gotcha.
doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So then I just do the petting method straight out of the bottle. I don't dilute those ones, but
Mhm. Okay, awesome. Would you like to share about your own personal experience? And you do not have to. I just know you brought it up that you learned about this for yourself and have adapted it to your animals. If that's a story you want to tell, we'll certainly make space for that.
um
You do not have to.
yeah, no, I can. It's when I was introduced to the oils like years ago, or not years ago, well, I guess it is years ago, 2004. It seems
Yeah,
like it
that's
forever.
17 years, my friend. It's a long time ago.
Uh, Actually, it goes back further than that. I always had lady issues and migraine headaches. And I got pregnant, or well, Ray and I were married, and I ended up pregnant, and I lost that baby. And then the doctors told me that I would never have children. So they wanted to do a hysterectomy on me.
Mhm.
So I went to see a lady that did reflexology. And she applied essential oils to my feet in certain areas. And we had 2 or 3 treatments like that. She was doing reflex, just basically reflexology, but with the oils.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to the doctor for a checkup, and my chronic yeast infection was totally gone.
Oh, wow. After one reflexology experience?
No, we had about 3.
I see.
There was about 3. And she gave me this bottle of oil to rub on my belly, but she never ever told me what it was. And so I used it.
Potion. Did you ever figure out what it was?
No, I didn't. She was really hard to understand. She was an amazing Chinese lady that lived not too far from where we are now. But no, I never did ask her because I just thought, whatever, it worked. And I don't know, I was in my early 20s then, and it was just like, did it really matter?
No, right,
then
right.
to me, so yeah, I ended up having 2 boys. So yeah, that's, I guess when I first was ever introduced to the oils, and that would have been like in 2001 or 2. And then I kind of forgot about them, and we moved to Alberta for a while and had our children. They had asthma and lots of issues. And then I got introduced to the oils again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I never looked back. I just used them. And then in 2004, when I found out about Raindrop, that was the pinnacle of everything, because there's so much that Raindrop can do for the body that it's unreal.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I hope people will learn by hearing people like you tell the stories, is that it's pretty amazing, right? I mean, we can't guarantee anything, but what we have seen and experienced and know about is nothing short of amazing for many people and many animals. And I think often when we talk about something like this, because it does sound like this weird thing, right? I mean, you sprinkle some oils on somebody and you do some techniques and things happen, that sounds foreign to people, maybe even sounds a little bit like voodoo, and I just want people to be open to the possibility and to trying it, to just give it a try. And you mentioned being a Reiki master, so am I. And I love these types of modalities. I love bringing them together, right? I love all this energy work, and that energy piece of the puzzle is sometimes where I think that people just don't understand it. You can't really wrap your head around it until you experience it. And too many times we are stuck in a trip back to the doctor or a trip back to the vet. What can you give me? What can you give me? What can I take in a medical form or substance to make this go away? And in those times, often all we're doing is changing the symptoms, not really healing those emotional roots and the energetics of the body. So yeah, I love that.
Yes, absolutely. As you were talking, I just thought of something, and it's really just new. We bought a puppy last year. It was in, he's just about a year old now. And he's a Mastahula. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
I have not seen a Mastahula. I do know what a Catahoula is because, and it's funny, so I used to foster Great Danes, and I had several Great Danes of my own. And we would often get in Catahoula leopard dogs as Great Dane puppies. And we're like, no, this This is not a Great Dane puppy. Completely different, but people would look at it, not know what it was in our area, right? And go, hey, we got this Great Dane puppy. And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. But a Catahoula and a Mastiff mix, that's quite a combo.
Yeah, and right now he's almost a year old. He'll be a year old next month. But he's black. Most of his body is black, and then he's got copper on his head. They call him a copper top, but he's not much bigger than a Catahoula is, this guy. Like, he's not going to be huge like a Mastiff. So we do live out in the country and far from our closest neighbor is over a mile. But we decided that because we have grandchildren and stuff, we wanted to get him neutered just so that he's more of a family dog, he's still a good guard dog. So anyhow, when it was appropriate, we took him to the vet and had him neutered. And of course, they got their medications and all that kind of stuff. And once he was done that, the surgical area was still really swollen up and he was just not himself. And I thought to myself, like, oh, I could run him back to the vet. And then I thought, no, let's do Raindrop. Yeah. So I did Raindrop on him, and it was almost instantly, it was like snapping your finger. He was a totally different dog. And then I was packing my oils away, and I had a few other oils just sitting there, and he kept nosing this one and pushing it. And then he actually picked up the bottle, and I looked at it. It was Release. So then I thought, oh, okay. I mean, that's, he's gone through a surgery, so he needs to release that emotion or something in there. Yeah. And so I opened the bottle and put some on my hand, and he actually literally licked it out of my hand.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I'm a big fan of Raindrop after surgical procedures. And so I actually have a surgical protocol that I share with all of my puppy clients, because most of them are going to go through the neutering process. And then certainly there are other situations where surgical procedures are required. And I love the Raindrop as part of that follow-up, of that aftercare program.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's amazing that he let all that go so quickly.
Well, and yeah. And even when he gets really hyper, there's the odd time I'll do a little video with him on Facebook, and he'll be running around and jumping, and I'll pull out which that one for the dogs, I can't remember the name of it, and just even holding the bottle, and he smells it, and it's like, oh, then he just sits down and looks. So yeah, but the Raindrop sure helped him that day, and I wish I would have thought of it sooner, but I guess there's always a time and a place, and when they want it, they'll let you know.
That's right. Everything happens in the right time. So
exactly.
All right, Bonnie. Well, I very much appreciate your time and your sharing your experiences with us. And I hope that this will translate to some other people taking interest in Raindrop and maybe using it for their own animals or their families. So thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And if you want some more stories, I can keep digging and find some more.
Okay, well, you do that, and we'll come back and we'll do part 2.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
All right, Bonnie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's Dana Brigman of the Canine Coach Carolinas again, and I hope that you enjoyed the content and resources that were made available to you in this video. I'd like to invite you to visit my website, caninecoach.dog, for a lot more information available to you about nutrition and natural wellness. You can also find us on Facebook and pop into our group and ask questions, learn more, discuss things with more like-minded people who are also trying to do the very best that they can using natural wellness opportunities for their dog. I'd love to have you on the team for our essential oils and our nutritional products. I'm an affiliate with the company Volhard Dog Nutrition, and they make a fantastic dog food and supplement line. And then, of course, for our essential oils, I'd love to invite you into that family as well and tell you more about how those products can save you a lot of money and be very beneficial to your entire family. When you are a member, of, well, let me rephrase that. When you use my affiliate links for those product lines, your consultations with me are at no additional cost to you. That's pretty amazing. And I look forward to helping you learn more and implement a natural wellness lifestyle for your dog and for yourself. Have a great day.